Morning everyone and welcome to my channel. So I'm doing something different and I'm going to vlog or try to vlog as much of my week as I can this week. Starting today where I'm actually off to a dog show. So it's the weekend, not got anything else planned apart from this dog show. So come with me to Harewood House. You can see hopefully just about in the background his bum. That's my studio assistant. See if I can get him in. Oh, just about there. But yeah, we're going to head off now. I will see you when we get there. It's such a lovely hot day at the show, so this was just waiting for the classes, and then I'm going to just show you some of the videos I got. So what you're seeing now is Best Dog, Reserve Best Dog, Best Puppy Dog and Best Veteran Dog. So the Best Veteran actually beat Axel, which I do not mind at all. I explain later on in the video, he is a stunning dog. Then we have Best Female, Reserve Best Female, who is also Best Puppy Female, and Best Veteran Female. Now all of the bests, so the best female, the best male, compete against each other to then, for this final lineup where we have Best Breed, which was the male, Best Opposite Sex, the female, Best Puppy was the female, Best Veteran in Breed was the male dog, and Best Special Beginner in Breed was the female. So, excuse the mess behind me, I will get a better backdrop, but I realised that yesterday at the dog show I didn't kind of finish the vlog. At the dog shows I get so kind of busy taking photos and obviously with my dog making sure he's okay, so I'll just kind of summarise what happened. So Axel, my studio assistant, he got a second place in his class, which I am over the moon with. He doesn't have much coat, obviously being a Siberian Husky, it's summer here. He's dropped all his coat, so I was really pleased with that. We then stayed for the majority of the day so that I could take photos. So one of the things that I do alongside obviously my artwork is I like to go out and get lots of photos. So I am going to spend this morning, it's now Tuesday, so unfortunately I suffer a lot with chronic migraines, so yesterday I was in bed all day with a migraine, which is why there's no vlog from yesterday. I'm still got a bit of a headache, so today we're just going to take it easy. We're going to edit a few photos, not many, because I don't like to be on the screen too much, after a migraine I should say. So we're going to edit a few photos, and yeah, I will catch up with you once I've done a few of them. So this is like all the photos that were taken at the show. There's a lot to go through, mainly Siberian Huskies. So these are all the Huskies. And then if I just go to the other folder, during the day oh, why are we not showing them properly? Hang on. I was taking, oh, they need to be a little bit bigger so you can see what I'm doing. We have other breeds, so there's like rough collies here, Shelties, sorry. Then we've got like, there was a St. Bernard, a Sealyham Terrier, there's a Husky there, there's a Samoyed up here. Oh, I'm no good at this camera stuff. If I scroll down, there's lots of breeds. So we've got, that's a rough collie, we've got a Catalan, there's a Border Collie, there's a Leonberger, and if you scroll all the way down, we've got like an Akita Maltese Beagle. So yeah, these are all the photos that I need to go through now. Okay, so while I have got those photos uploading now, I've just edited all the Siberian Huskies. I've still got about 4,000 to 5,000 photos to go through of different breeds. Terrier group, the pastoral group and the working group, and best in the show. But it's time that I get to do some drawing. So I'm actually working on a really gorgeous German Shepherd at the moment. Here he is. Oh, that's a bit of a shine there. There you go. He is absolutely stunning. And what I'm going to do now is work or make a start on this this ear now. So I just thought I'd bring you along for maybe a little draw with me. But yeah, let's get drawing. I'm just going to take my putty eraser and very lightly lifting some of this graphite. Now this part of his ear is actually quite dark anyway, with it being kind of this sort of black outline, like on the left hand side. And then what I'm going to do is I like to always start with my warm greys or cold greys, depending on the area. So I'm actually going to come in with the warm grey 1, and we're just going to get the outside of the ear sort of mapped in. So I like to get the this kind of the shape of the ears drawn in first before I do like the inner parts. So this just helps us get it all lined up exactly how we want it to look, and it comes together really nicely. At least I find that this is definitely the easiest way to do it. I'm sure there's other methods out there that, you know, you like, other artists like to use. This is just how I like to do my pieces. It does take time as well, but I'm in no rush. This piece, I don't actually know, I'd have to, where's my tally? I've done 13.5 hours so far on this piece. I reckon the ear's going to take me probably like an hour and a half. They do take a bit of time. They're quite large as well. I always find with German Shepherd ears that they're huge. Or at least these prick ears are, they're quite large anyway, prick ears. And there's always a lot of detail, because not only are we building up the, you know, the structure of the ear, we're also building up, you know, the inner structure. Then you've got all the fur detail. Then you've got the fur kind of around the outside. There's so much going on, so I just like to take my time. Okay, and then I'm just kind of, let me again make sure, yeah, you can see down here. Just gonna again very lightly lift all this. Okay, now this is just the outside, so like when I'm looking at the inner, this is going to be quite dark anyway, but it's all the, like the hair here. So I don't want to draw that bit in yet, and the same as down here. This is just this kind of similar to this fold on this part of his ear. So that's all I'm mapping in. I'm then just going to go in with my, it's the burnt ochre 10%. When I can find, not the burnt ochre, sorry, the brown ochre 10%. It's this nice golden colour from the Caran d'Ache Luminance. And I'm just going to map this in where I can see these nice brownish tones. So along the edge of this ear. And again, you don't need to press hard with the Fabriano. So I don't know if I said actually, this is on the Fabriano Artistico hot press watercolour paper. I use the 640 GSM. So it takes a lot of layers. And as I was saying, you don't need to press hard. You can use very light layers, especially as I want to build up a lot of layers on this page. So just want to take my time. And as I'm building up these layers, I'm also looking at the fur direction and the length of the fur, because I want my fur strokes to, or my pencil strokes to reflect the length of the fur. There's quite a bit of brown colouring going along this ear. Some of it will get covered up with the darker colours, but that's okay. And then, because there's quite a yellowy tone, I'm going to come in with that, the Bista. Let me just sharpen this, because it's not as sharp as I would like. Okay, and then again, I'm really making sure that I'm following that fur direction. Now, I'm not worried if I go kind of too yellow in, like, as I say, with these darker areas, because the darker fur is going to be able to come over this really easily. So just want to make sure we've got enough of this Bista colour laid down on the ear. I do think at some point that I'm going to do a German Shepherd tutorial, because there's so many colour changes that goes on within the fur. As you can see kind of at the top of his head here, you know, we've gone from this black fur here to the tan fur, back to the black fur, to the tan, to the black. There's so many colour changes, and getting it all blended so that it looks what's the word I'm looking for? So it looks natural, I guess. And soft. We want to capture that feeling of the fur as well. But it is a really fun colour to work with. Especially as with German Shepherds, this tan colour, you know, they call it tan, or it can be red. It can be this really reddish colour. So there's so many different shades as well that we can get with this fur. Obviously then there's sable German Shepherds, which I've done a sable German Shepherd. I will include a photo here. It was a couple of years ago since I did the sable German Shepherd. But she was so much fun, and again, this is a colour that I really want to do a tutorial on, because it's not the easiest colour when you first look at it, but if you just take it slowly and, you know, section by section, or at least that's how I work, section by section, but take it bit by bit, colour by colour, layer by layer, it does all come together. And as I say, I've taken some photos of some German Shepherds, so one thing my tutorials now going forward is I'm trying to use my own reference photos. So that they're really exclusive tutorials for everybody. I'm just going to take my gold as well. But yeah, I really want my tutorials to be exclusive, you know, photos that you can't get from any other tutorials, because it's amazing that there's so many people, you know, offering tutorials and teaching how they like to work. You can pick up so many different tips and tricks. And for those that don't know, on my Patreon, I only work with the Polychromos pencils. I know how expensive it can be getting started out, especially when you're learning and you're doing tutorials. It can be really overwhelming when so many different brands of pencils are being used and you don't have all the brands. So I try to make it easy by using just Polychromos. Now, I do use a lot of colours within my work, which might be the only downside to some of you, but I'm more than happy to kind of help out where I can, give you, you know, different colours you could use, or in my tutorials I do sometimes mention, you know, other colours that you can use alongside the Polychromos, like the luminance, how you can use them instead of particular Polychromos pencil. I may do, this is the burnt umber I'm using now, because this will be a nice transition colour. I may do some tutorials where I do work with the luminance on the Patreon, but they won't be as often as obviously my Polychromos tutorials. We're just going to flick and blend up. I don't know if that keeps, if it's not focusing on the drawing, I'm sorry if it keeps focusing on my hand. So I'm using this burnt umber as like my transition between my light and darker colours. Some of this, there will be like the greys that I'll have to come in with, but I like to just try and get some of this mapped in straight away. Okay. It's more like a bluish tone down here, so I'm not going to bring it all the way down. I think what I'm going to do is just find my nugget and put it there. And again, just going to bring in the nugget. So again, I'm layering lots of colour till I feel like I've found the right shade that I'm after. It's not about me just using one pencil. The way that I like to work, and again, I'm not saying this is the right or wrong way, we all have different methods, but I like to add a lot of colour on my page rather than just using one pencil that is the colour. I just feel, for me, by mixing my colours on the page and lots of colours, I am building up the depth within the fur, because fur isn't all one colour, you know, there's so many different colours going on. So I want to make sure I'm kind of capturing that within my work. And again, it's not the right or wrong way, it's just the way that I like my work to look. And that's all you've got to do, is just find methods that work for you and how you want your work itself to look. So like here now, I'm getting a really nice smooth blend with these dark browny colours now. I've added, so I was using the Pablo Cinnamon and the Polychromos Burnt Sienna, and then just this Burnt Umber again, and potentially the Van Dyke Brown here, just to bring in a bit more of that neutral brown tones. I find the Van Dyke Brown is really nice for the neutral kind of colour. And you can see straight away that it's got a really nice blend going on there. And then I'm looking for, this is the French Grey 30%, because we do have that kind of greyish tone. And just where I can see this nice greyish tone now. Just coming kind of halfway up the ear. Like so. Might bring it along the tip here, just anywhere where I can see it. And a little bit, again following that kind of curvature to the fur, because it's curving out of this ear. But remembering that we're building up the structure of this ear, so you really want to be capturing the slight curves within the fur. And then the Cold Grey 5. And what you can see is I'm not focusing on details at all. You've kind of built up some of the details by, you know, following the fur direction. But all I'm doing is toning the paper. I'm adding all the colours that I can see, and then I'll worry about details after. I need more, let's go in with the Cold Grey 2, because this is definitely more of a lighter blue tone for now. Right, I think I'm going to start bringing in that darker tone of the fur, and then I can balance it out with this goldeny colour. So I'm going to take the dark sepia, because this again is a nice transition before I think about using like the black. And again, I'm just going to start by following this fur direction. And just lightly, again, it's all very light pressure. You don't need to go in really, really harsh. Just take your time and just build it up nice and lightly, because at this point, if we, you know, if you make any mistakes, we can easily correct them. But if you go in using really hard pressure, and what I mean by hard pressure is, you know, it's not looking grainy like this. If I was to go in, say here, this is hard pressure. Can you see the difference between this and this? So I don't want to do hard pressure. I just want it to look grainy and I guess kind of a mess in a way. Like this is what you would consider maybe like the ugly stage, and you're just going to take your time to build up any of these areas where it's nice and dark. I don't know if, I hope this is helpful because I know it's not really a tutorial, but it's just showing how I draw ears. Maybe next time I do some more drawing, I will just time lapse it. I think I'm waffling a bit as well because I'm so nervous to do this art vlog. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, but I feel like I just don't have an interesting life. I just draw pretty much and do the business stuff like printing cards and prints and doing emails, and I don't really do much. This time of year is busy for me because of the dog shows that I do, which is like a hobby. with the photography, because I love going out and getting photos, but yeah, I don't really do much. But then part of me was like, there's probably people out there that, you know, have a simple life like me and just spend it at home drawing or with their dog or cat or whatever pets you've got, and maybe you want to see more of a relaxed, simple life. I don't know if it's simple. It's very slow. I don't know if it's even slow paced. A lot goes on, so maybe it's not boring. I don't know. Okay, so can you see how this is starting to change this ear so much now? Just gonna come along here as well, and that's gonna blend into that lower part, but I just want to bring it in here. Okay, so what I'm going to just do is take my nugget, because this bit here just needs to be a little bit darker. And you can see now, like, this is getting really nice and smooth compared to the graininess of the other areas. Then back to that Vista for that nice yellow hue. Just along that edge. And then you could also just take, I just had it, the brown ochre 10%, because this will be really nice and light along that edge. Like so, okay. And then I'm going back to my dark sepia, which needs sharpening. But I'm hoping we'll do the job just for now. You can also see kind of blue tones in here. So what I've been using for the darker parts of these ears is actually the Payne's Grey, the dark sepia, and then the black where I really need it black. But I found that the Payne's Grey and the dark sepia have done the job kind of well enough. It's only like on this side, this needs to be super black, so I'll probably come in with a black down here. But this side, the Payne's Grey and the dark sepia will probably do the job well enough. But yeah, I am just going to keep going with this, layering it up, because I don't really want it to be a tutorial as such, but I hope kind of how I've explained the outside part helps. Maybe once I've drawn the outside part, I'll kind of do another bit of filming and I will show you how to do the inner part of the ear. So yeah, I'll come back when I'm working on the inner part. So it's Wednesday now. I forgot to finish filming yesterday. I will get better at this vlogging stuff. So today, this morning, I've done more editing of photos. I'd say about halfway through now. So I can't remember if I said, but I took about 6,000 photos. So a lot of editing, a lot of kind of going through photos, removing the, I say bad ones, the ones that haven't made the cut, editing the ones that have made the cut where they've needed editing, adding my watermark, all that stuff. I've also done some admin today, so my emails, updated all the businessy bits and bobs. So now I am just going to go walk my dog and then get some drawing done of the German Shepherd. So in the next clip I will give you an update on the German Shepherd, and I will give you more of a talk through of how I'm working on that German Shepherd ear. So I've had a busy day doing all the art stuff. I'm now going to take the rest of the afternoon off, so it's about coming up to about 4 o'clock here now. I'm going to take the rest of the afternoon off and I'm going to go paddleboarding, so I'll take you along. I don't know if I'll get any footage of me actually paddleboarding, but I'll show you where we paddleboard. It's just a really nice relaxing activity, I guess, to do outside of art and photos and the dogs, and yeah, especially on a really sunny day like today, so come along with us. So we're here now where we go paddleboarding. It's this lovely quiet spot, and I'm just going to show you. I'm just kind of sat to one side while my partner is out on the paddleboard with our friend, and then I'll give it a go. But yeah, this is where we paddleboard. So yeah, I like to come on here just to kind of reconnect and get away from the busy world, because as you can hear, it's so peaceful out here. There is the occasional car that goes past. It is a working farm as well, but it is a lovely place. So I'm going to spend a couple of hours out here, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next day within this vlog. Hey everyone, so it's a new day, and today I am expecting some results of a competition that I entered. So the competition was with the Wild Heart Gallery, and it was a juried exhibition. So to get placed into this exhibition, you had to be juried in by the judges. I entered 4 pieces. Now, I don't expect all 4 to get in. I would like, obviously, at least 1. 2, half would be nice. But yeah, really excited to see what gets accepted. So I will insert kind of here the pieces that I entered. So there was, first of all, there was Esme. This is a black Briard. She is one of the dogs that we bred actually ourselves. So she's a family pet. And I drew this as a commission by my dad. He commissioned me. I also entered Eagerness, my team piece. This piece is getting to a point where it's what is considered old. It was drawn a couple of years, nearly 3 years ago now, so it's getting to the point where it's no longer eligible for competition. So I thought, one last hurrah, let's see how this piece does. I then entered my Black Labrador. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I love this piece. I just love the shiny coat of the Labrador, the intense stare. Yeah, a really favourite piece of mine. This is also a tutorial over on Patreon. Quick plug there. Then I also finally entered my Weimaraner. This is my most recent piece. So we've got a lot of different dogs. So if you haven't realised, the exhibition is based all around dogs. So this is something that is really close to my heart. Obviously, for those that do know me, if you don't know me, I draw a lot of dogs. I am completely dog obsessed. So this competition was right up my street. But really nervous, because as it is something that I really kind of focus on, I really want to niche down into doing dogs. Obviously I do the wildlife, but dogs is a really big focus of mine. So yeah, it's a really big competition for me, a big exhibition, really nervous. So let's go check the results. I'm over the moon to have won Best in Show, like absolutely blown away. I never expected it. I just wanted to be juried into the exhibition. And not only did I get Best in Show with Esme, but Eagerness was also accepted, and they were given an honourable mention. So I am so chuffed, over the moon. Yeah, it means a lot, and I'm just lost for words. But yeah, what a great way to start the day. Something else that I need to do today, while in between all the big smiles, is I need to start preparing my next tutorial. Now, I'm debating between a dog and a horse, both from photos that I've taken. So one of the things that I'm trying to do with my Patreon channel is use photos that are my own. This just makes it more exclusive for those that are on my Patreon. So yeah, I've got to go through all my photos now and decide which one I like and create the line art, transfer the line art, so that tomorrow I can start filming. So once I've got a photo chosen, I will take you guys along with me, and I'll show you how I create the line arts for my tutorials. Okay, so I think I found a photo that I really want to draw. I was debating between 2 photos, so let me show you. It's of horses. So there was this one that I took. The photos were taken at the Great Yorkshire Show. So this was during the show jumping classes. So this horse is approaching a jump. And now I really wanted to potentially give this one a go. If I just, oh, hang on. Let's try again. Technology and me just don't go. Right, I want to, why won't we zoom in? There we go. Okay, I've zoomed in. So I really thought this would be a good challenge. Or the flea bitten, like the flecks of colour within his fur, the markings down here. I don't know why it's not working. The markings on his neck, and obviously you've got the bridle work and the ear cover. So that was a potential. But the one that I think at the moment that I'm leaning towards anyway, again, it might change, is this one. It's zoomed in a bit there, so it will be just the headshot. But with this piece, there's so many different fur, like colour transitions. So you've got the darker fur into this really nice red bay fur. It's a bay horse. Obviously, we've got the bridle, we've got this fluff. There's just a lot going on, which I think would be really fun to teach. So again, I'm kind of flicking between the two images at the moment, but I think the bay horse is going to win. What I'm doing is I like to zoom in and out of my photos. I do have another photo of the grey horse, where his head isn't as positioned high. So if I just zoom out, you can see his head is positioned high because he's off to a jump. Whereas here it's a little bit more relaxed. So maybe this one would work quite nicely. I really do kind of like that challenge of the flea bitten fur. Now I want to do a horse because it's been a while since I've done a horse tutorial. The last horse tutorial on Patreon was a shiny black horse. I'll include the finished image. Yeah, he was a lot of fun, but it's been a while since I've done that one. Oh, I'm now debating, do I do the grey horse or do I do the bay? I might do the grey horse now. I've changed my mind, guys. Does anybody else do that? I think this grey horse is going to be a nice challenge, and then I can do the bay horse another time. So let me show you how I'm going to do my outlines for the tutorial. So these are the outlines I give all my students, and I actually work from the same outline. Just because I know when you've done tutorials, if the tutor is working from a different outline, it can get really confusing. So I like to work from the same outline. So let me show you. So I am the absolute worst when it comes to technology, but what I've done is I have put this photo into Procreate. So if you've got something similar, obviously I've got the iPad, so I can use Procreate. You'll have to I apologise for the lighting in this. Obviously it's going to look a lot lighter and strange. But anyway, I've imported the photo into Procreate. So this is just where I can draw on the screen of my iPad and I can draw my outline. This is what I find the easiest. Other ways of tracing, and I know there's lots of other videos out there, you can trace, print out your reference image and use like a trace down method. You can use the grid method, you can freehand it, do whatever is easiest for you. If you want to trace the outline, trace the outline. If you want to freehand it, but please make sure it's whatever is the best method for you. So what I'm going to do is, now that I've imported it into here, let me just shuffle this down so you can see. I'm going to then click my layers, and I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm also just going to reduce the lighting on this, and I go down to about 75%, somewhere around there. Lighter if I have to, if it's a really dark image. I make sure on the brush setting that it's on inking and it's on the technical pen. This one I find the best for my outlining. And the colour, I just use black. Again, you could use any other colour if you want to use like a red, a pink, a blue, just to make sure you've got all, everything you want drawn out, then do that. Then what we're going to do is, if we just take our image, I'm going to zoom you in, and I'm just going to kind of in real time show you how I do the eye. So I've zoomed you all the way in. Again, it depends on your photo how far you can zoom in. This is taken on a really high quality DSLR, so I can keep kind of zooming in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the pen. This is probably zoomed in a bit too far. And I'm just going to kind of go around the main shape. So I want, the shape of this eye to be as accurate as possible. Where we've got those eyelashes and any kind of defining features within the eye itself. So we've got like that tear duct line, any shadows. And this is the part where you can make it as detailed as you want, or if you don't want as much detail because you want to freehand in a lot, you can, add less detail. Now, when I do my line work for my tutorials, I do probably make them a little bit too detailed, but I always think maybe I just go a little overboard, but I think the more detail that's there, the easier it is for my Patreons to kind of see where things go. When I'm doing like my commissions, my outlines are quite basic. They're just, you know, where the eyes are, the general shape of the animal that I'm drawing, that kind of thing. Okay, so you've kind of just outlined that. So if I zoom out a little bit, and then if I just hide the reference layer, you can see that I'm left with the outline of the eye. And then the main thing is now just to keep going. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to go through and mark in all these little flecks, these flea bitten bits, because I can add them after when I'm doing the drawing. I just want to add the main shape. So like we've got the shape of the eye here. We've got a big shadow kind of coming under here. Obviously we've got the shape of the cap. You've got, maybe you want to map in where that sort of grey shadow is. So as I say, this is, you know, do as little or as much as you want. You can zoom in on your photos. I can start building up the bridle. And yeah, I am just gonna keep doing this now until I get a line art that I'm happy with. So I will I'll put you on a little time lapse. Okay, so I didn't realise that the the camera had run out of charge. So what I've done is I've finished outlining this. So you can see the image and my outline is on top. So if I just remove the reference, you can see that we have a line art. So it looks quite detailed. All I've done is obviously map in some of the details on the bridle itself. And then on the horse, I've got mainly kind of the shadows. And then down here where we've got some of the flea bitten markings and things like that. So this is the outline that I'm now going to trace onto my watercolour paper before I then start filming for Patreon. So I will show you the start of this tutorial when it's done. As always, I'm going to be starting on the eye. So we'll probably only get a bit of the eye done, maybe some of the outline around it. But yeah, really excited to do this as a tutorial over on Patreon. So what I've done now is I have actually flipped the image. So if you remember when I was tracing it, the horse was actually facing to the right. So I've already flipped the image so that I can trace it facing this way. And then when I transfer this image onto my watercolour paper, I can flip the tracing and it will be the correct way. Now this will all be further on and you can see how it goes. But yeah, what I do is probably isn't the best way. but I actually use my laptop to trace from, or I will send it to my TV and trace on the TV if it's a larger piece. Probably not the best ways, but this is what works for me, and I've found it's always worked. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this onto the tracing paper. So I've got my tracing paper, I've got the, I don't know how well you can see here, the size of the paper is actually drawn out on the tracing paper so that I don't draw this too large. Now I am going to probably, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this landscape or portrait yet. Now obviously this is too small of an image, so I'm just going to enlarge this a bit. Now this is where you kind of got to make sure that you get the sizes correct. I am kind of thinking, as I'm looking at this, that landscape, might be the best way. But again, I just kind of play around. Actually, maybe landscape, portrait would work if I just keep enlarging this a little bit. That might be a little bit too large. Nope, that fits kind of nicely if I was to do this portrait. And then if I was to do this landscape, let's have a look. See, if I do this landscape, I can probably make this a little bit larger. Let's see what this would look like if I enlarged it one more time. That would probably work quite nicely this way. And it would work actually as a portrait. Now I quite like this portrait look to it. So I think this is the way that I am going to do. Now, oh, sorry, you can't see. What I've done is, so as I said, I've got the size of the paper on the tracing paper. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just lining up, let me just fold that bit, lining up that corner and these lines so that it's on the flat edge of that white, so that this is where it gives me a really nice kind of balance and a starting point. And then all I'm doing is I'm taking a 2B pencil and I'm going to use this fairly lightly. You don't need to press hard. And all you're going to do now is just go over and trace everything that you want. If you don't want to include all the detail, you don't have to. You know, you've just got to trace as much. Your outline might not be as detailed. But yeah, I am just going to continue on now, tracing this out. So when it is traced, I'll come back and I'll show you how I transfer onto my watercolour paper. So I've got this outline traced. Now, as you can see, it's still facing the opposite way, but it's all traced out onto my tracing paper. Now, the reason I trace it the opposite way straight away is now when I'm moving onto my actual watercolour paper, which you can see here in the background, I flip this around and this is now ready to be traced straight away onto the watercolour paper facing the correct way. Now, you can trace it this way round and then like rub your graphite on the back, and then flip it again. I just feel like there's too much flipping going on if I do it that way. I want to be as quick and as efficient as I can be, so by tracing it the opposite way, as soon as it goes onto my watercolour paper, I can then start tracing. And then what I would do is I again take my pencil, or you could use like a different colour, and you're just going to draw around everything once again till you have your outline on the paper. But yeah, that is everything that I do to get my line arts, whether it's a tutorial like this one, or if it is a commission, or original, whatever it is, it's the same kind of technique. So I hope that has been helpful for you all. And I've just placed a photo here of the outline transferred onto the paper, and then I'm going to get a start on filming that. So for my Patreon, that horse is going to be drawn using just Polychromos pencils, and it's going to be a full real-time tutorial. I'm also going to have it available on my shop store as a one-off tutorial that you can purchase once it is finished. But yeah, I think I'm also going to leave the vlog here. I know I feel like it's been a short week, but it's quite a long vlog. I've done quite a lot of probably rambling and talking and chatting all the way through this. And I have a very exciting day out planned tomorrow, which I'm going to vlog the day, or maybe start a new vlog. But yeah, I hope you like the introduction of these art vlogs, kind of what I get up to in a day or a week. This week has definitely been kind of a busy week, lots of different things going on. So on weeks where maybe it's not as busy, I will probably just stick to maybe like a day in the life or a draw with me kind of video. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, I really do appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, like the video, all that good stuff, and comments down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.